let's move to the next presentation by Jakub Dohnal from Brno University of Technology. The topic is fire resistance of surface charred beech wood.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, excellent.
Okay, thanks. Nice. So now I will start streaming my presentation, and for better data transfer, I turn off the video. So, my name is Jakub Dohnal, and I welcome in my presentation about the fire resistance of surface charred beech wood. I work in Brno University of Technology on Faculty of Civil Engineering in Czech Republic. The proportion of brief-leaf trees, as well as the amount of potential processing out of their wood, has been growing. Some of the broadleaf woody plants are not used very extensively for their unsuitable properties for constructions. For example, they have worse workability, are brittle, and not resistant for climatic effects, for example. There are ways to treat or completely remove unsuitable properties. One of the ways to improve, for example, climatic resistance is surface treatment. There are many types of surface treatment. It's possible to apply coating, use a modification. For example, surface modification, especially thermal treatment, was used for this experiment. This treatment can be made by difficult metals with difficult results. The original metals comes from Japan. This method is performed by open fire, and the fire treat wood in place around the fire, and so it forms in a chimneys in these pictures. Another method is a method of direct flame by flaming with a burner. It's this picture. A method using contact heating by hot plate provides an even thermal modification over the whole sample surface. A hot plate with temperature from 50 degrees to 500 degrees was used for this experiment. A sample was placed on a hot plate and was modified for the central time period. In this picture is a thermal sensor where put inside the testing sample, and temperature after the sample cross-cut was investigated. The experiment was performed at 5 different temperatures from 200 to 400 degrees Celsius. And the following heating times were selected for these temperatures. Samples are radial and tangential directions were tested. In this figure shows color change for individual temperatures at times for thermal modifications. Up to thermal of 300 degrees, just surface tint occurred. Stink surface disturb occurred above this temperature. This experiment aimed to find whether how much the thermal modifications improve frame resistance. The chamber was made for evaluation purposes, and analytical balance was placed above the chamber. It's here and here. Hanging device was taken off in order to use bottom welding. The bottom plate of the hanging device was made for non-flammable material. An opening was made in the plate for sample to be mounted. The opening was smaller the sample, so that loading would only be applied to the modified side, not from other side. The flame height was adjusted to directly touch the tested sample. After the sample mounting and stabilization of hanging device movement, the balance was charred. Afterwards, the flame was light and the weighting mass loss begin. The measurements were always terminated after the sample go burned through. On this slide is show bottom plate. This size sample is marking here in a deck plate. On this side is shown sample before and after experience and temperature dismodified. Results. For in the x-axis show time for experiment, and y-axis it show the burn out of mass. In both graphs, the purple curve and here presents not modified samples. Based on final values, it's clear the modifieds for samples in radial directions here was more effective than for samples in tangential directions. The burning resistance in radial directions is better by nearly 2 minutes than for non-modified samples. Such treat woods can be applied to large number of various parts of structures, and there are many applications. It can be used as foundation beam for wooden buildings, which is often exposed to increased moisture. It can also be used to facade cladding in here, which is more durable than coating by paint or oil. In interior, can be used for furniture as a design element, and etc. Based on treatment which provides samples which always the same treatment, it's possible to choose a right color through adapting based on interior or architecture's needs. It's the same interior and different facade claddings. There are no limits to imagination. Thank you for your attentions.
Thank you, Dr. Dohnal. Maybe I'll ask questions as a really outside of your discipline as an architect. I mean, it looks like this is a very excellent ways of fireproofing using more natural ways compared to paint and so on. I think that's the value of the study, I assume. This is the beech wood. So is it the same method, the kind of also apply to other wood material? That is one question. And the reason you choose beech is because it is more popular use for the, I don't know, exterior wall or something. So that's what. The other is for different components of timber construction, structure versus floor or the exterior cladding, would the same methods apply? Because I assume they would have different fire resistance requirement, like how many hours, 2 hours or 3 hours or 1 hour. So is how you take that into consideration when you tested this fireproofing methods. Thank you.
Okay, in the first, we can use for other woods. It's possible spruce and, for example, what you want. But this project is only for beech, and we can use for example, all woods material, because it's this modified is possible to use this chamber is only for 40 centimeters, but is it's using for movings. It's possible make bigger and bigger wood structures. It's possible doing everything.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your presentation.